You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters, let's talk about Caitlin Clark and the Las Vegas Aces, the Phoenix Mercury, and the embarrassment that has to be one Diana Taurasi, one Aja Wilson, one Kelsey Plum. And it seems to me like Caitlin Clark fans, and maybe even some of the fans that the WNBA already had, decided to make a statement. Now, yesterday afternoon, I did a video. Caitlin Clark's debut in the WNBA garnered 2.12 million viewers. It was the biggest viewed WNBA game of any sort in 23 years. All right. Now, there was another game that came on after Caitlin Clark went off. So, picture this. ESPN 2 and Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever, lead in to the Las Vegas Aces versus the Phoenix Mercury. Now, two of the most well-known teams in this league, I guess, to their fans. And this is a perfect example. And it proves me right that Aja Wilson and Diana Taurasi are moving no needles whatsoever. All right? There was a reason why Wilson did not have a signature shoe deal. And the viewership on their game is exactly the proof. Because even having that lead in with Caitlin Clark, the ratings fell off a cliff for the Aces versus Mercury. And I even contend some people have not liked their attitude to the point that just maybe if they would have watched the game, they decided to not watch the game. I mean, seriously. Because this is embarrassing. So, Caitlin Clark, as we know, drew 2.12 million viewers, plus another 13,000 on ESPN Deportes, okay? The largest WNBA audience since 2001, and the best ever on cable, all right? Now, let's scroll down. And by the way, that beat NHL playoff games. I mean, impressive, okay? Impressive. Let's get to the Aces and the Mercury. All right? Three of the league's biggest stars played in this game. Diana Taurasi, Aja Wilson, two-time MVP, and everybody keeps calling Taurasi the GOAT, really? And Kelsey Plum were all in this game. Returning to the WNBA, Mercury Aces followed Caitlin Clark's debut with just 472,000 viewers. That was still the third largest audience for a WNBA game on ESPN2. So, guys, I'll do the math for you. 1.6 million people turned off the TV when the Mercury and the Aces came on immediately after Caitlin Clark's game. Now, that tells you all you need to know about who's moving the needle in this league and who's not. All right? And the reason why Nike hadn't given a signature shoe deal to Wilson, and I don't want to hear that there was one in the works for a year. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I believe that I said she will get a signature shoe deal because of the wokes and the gaslighting online, losing their minds because white Caitlin Clark got a shoe deal. And yeah, they made it about race. I didn't. They did. But you get my point. They were upset that the white girl got the signature shoe deal, and they kept talking about marketability. Well, that's all you need to know. 1.6 million viewers was the difference between the amount of people that tuned in for Caitlin Clark and the amount of people that tuned in for the two-time WNBA MVP, Aja Wilson, and Diana Taurasi. And in fact, I would say that those two running their skulls about Caitlin Clark and dogging her out over the last month may have actually caused people to turn, even more people to turn the TV away from them. They've turned themselves into villains, and it's even worse. It's the worst kind of villain. It's the same thing that LeBron James has done to himself for the last 5 years. He's not only a villain, he's a villain that people turn the TV off on and decide not to watch. You know what they're not doing in other sports? The Yankees, the most hated team in baseball, the Cowboys, the most hated team in the NFL. Nobody's turning those games off if they're fans of baseball or football. They're not turning those games off. I mean, they'll hate watch those games, but they're not turning the TV off. People literally reached up, 1.6 million people literally reached up and turned the television off when Aja Wilson and Diana Taurasi was coming on the screen. So you tell me who's moving the needle versus who's not. I mean, this is... I said I couldn't wait to see Caitlin Clark's ratings in her games versus other WNBA games. Well, you get no more bigger names than the ones that were in it. Look, the only name they were missing in this Mercury game was Brittany Griner. Guess what? Nobody watched her game when she came back from Russia either. That didn't happen. I mean, seriously. This is all you need to know. Is that 2.12 million versus 472,000 people watched these. That was the difference in the viewership between these two games and the interest level. By the way, side note, as we're talking about this, I'll just turn it over here. You can see this. WNBA's debut for Caitlin Clark. The betting was more than any game last year, including the WNBA Finals clinching game. Betting was 6 times higher at Caesars Sportsbook on the Indiana Fever's loss to the Connecticut Sun on Tuesday night than Game 4 of the Las Vegas Aces' victory over the New York Liberty, a New York team. Wagering on that game helped propel betting on the league overall, with a number of tickets up 516% at Caesars over last year's opening night, and the amount of money was up 84%. They've had a huge influx in people wagering on the WNBA, and look, a lot of sports leagues, if they want to make it, they got to get the bettors interested. And Caitlin Clark gets the bettors interested on top of everybody else. It's hilarious. I mean, it's embarrassing and it's hilarious. Those two big stars that ran their mouth so much about Caitlin Clark, 1.6 million people Thanos snapped out of existence as soon as their game came on. They had the largest lead in to a WNBA game in 23 years and couldn't get 500,000 people to watch it. Wow. Congratulations. Unbelievable. Tell me what you think. Man, this proves a lot of points. And yeah, you can bet we'll be doing some compare and contrast, because when Caitlin's games ends up on ABC, I think you could see a 3.5 mil at some point happen. That's going to be a lot of people. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.